one thing I wanted to mention at the beginning here is that while this act has been passed and signed by the president, we still don't have rules from the Small Business Administration. So all of this is sort of subject to change. And I wanted to start that right off at the top. So brief overview. The American Rescue Plan had in it a $28.6 billion restaurant revitalization fund. And again, this is going to be monitored and established, this fund, through the Small Business Administration, the same administration that has taken responsibility over the PPP money that many small businesses have received. The Shuttered Venues Act as well runs through the Small Business Administration. So they're the ones who are overseeing this entire process. Again, these are grants, not loans. As I'm sure you're all aware, the PPP money was a loan that needed to be paid back. No such requirement has been made on the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. These grants, first off, an eligible business may receive a tax-free federal grant equal to the amount of its pandemic-related revenue loss, and this is going to be calculated by subtracting its 2020 gross receipts from its 2019 gross receipts. If the business, a couple caveats here, if the business is not in operation for the entirety of 2019, the total is a difference between 12 times the monthly average gross receipts for 2019 and the average monthly gross receipts in 2020, or another formula provided by the SBA. And if the business is not in operation until 2020, it can receive a grant equal to the amount of eligible expenses subtracted by its gross receipts received, or formula by SBA. So again, if you haven't been open, many restaurants who were planning to open in the early part of 2020 have not decided to open their doors due to the pandemic. They can still eligible to receive these grants if they can subtract, they can apply for the money via their operating expenses that they've already paid, whether it be rent, whether it be utilities, things of that nature. And if the business is not yet in operation as of the application date, but it has made eligible expenses, the grant would be made equal to those expenses again, or another formula provided by the SBA. So we'll get those formulas as we sort of get more information. We can move to the next slide here. You do have to deduct the first and second draw of your PPP loans. So again, pandemic-related revenue losses for businesses are reduced by an amount that amounts received from the Paycheck Protection Program (PPP) first draw and second draw loans in 2020 and/or in 2021. So if you did receive loans the first or second time, though, that money is deducted from what you would be eligible for the RRF. And distribution. The SBA can adjust awards based on the demand and relative quote unquote local costs in the markets where RRF business operate. Otherwise, there's $23.6 billion available for the SBA to award in equitable manner to businesses of different sizes based on annual gross receipts. There's going to be $5 billion available to businesses with gross receipts of $500,000 or less during 2019. And the total grant amount for eligible businesses and any affiliated businesses is capped at $10 million and is limited to $5 million per physical location of the business. That obviously comes to play when you have more than one restaurant under the same LLC. And in marketing, there is a limit on that we'll get to here in a minute for some larger chains that may prohibit them from receiving RRF money. But we can move forward here. This is going to be important. So the prioritization. For an initial 21-day period, the SBA will prioritize awarding grants for small business concerns owned and controlled by women, veterans, or socially and economically disadvantaged small businesses. We haven't got definitions exactly on what socially and economically disadvantaged small business concerns are, but we are sort of under the working assumption that it means those businesses that may be in areas that have been particularly hard hit by the pandemic, or those businesses that operate in sort of low income areas may also be able to apply during this prioritization window. Eligible expenses are those incurred from February 15th, 2020 to December 31st, 2021. Or a date determined by the SBA. If that changes again, what we think we know is this is going to be the covered period. If all grant funds are not spent by the businesses or business permanently closes before the end of the covered period, the business must return unused funds to the Treasury. So again, if you do get this money, do your best to use it before the end of the year. I would not think it would be that difficult. Again, eligible expenses. This is going to be pretty broad through our application work with our partners at the National Restaurant Association. We try to make this sort of as broad as possible. For those who received loans on the first PPP, it was pretty specific on what those funds could be used for. We were able to broaden it in the second round of PPP, and we were able to broaden this out more, even further than that. Funds must be spent on payroll, principal or interest or mortgage obligations, rent, utilities, maintenance, including construction to accommodate outdoor seating, supplies such as protective equipment and cleaning materials, normal food and beverage inventory, certain covered supplier costs, operational expenses, paid sick leave, and any other expenses that the SBA determines to be essential to maintaining operations. One small caveat there when it comes to food and beverage inventory, we're still waiting for clarification, and we've asked, and hopefully when they come out with the rules, we'll have a better idea of if alcohol would be classified under beverage inventory. We in the second draw of PPP, there was some confusion about whether alcohol could be included in sort of the normal goods that restaurants would use these expenses for. We are hopeful that alcohol is included in this, but again, we are not 100% sure on that. So again, as we get more clarification, hopefully we'll be able to have that answer for you. There's one more slide here. And eligible entities. So you owner operate 20 or fewer establishments together with any affiliated business, regardless of ownership type of the locations and whether those locations do business under the same or multiple names. As of March 13th, 2020, an affiliated business has an equity or right to profit distribution of 50% or more, or has contractual authority to control the direction of the business, provided that such affiliation shall be determined as of any arrangement or agreements in existence as of March 13th, 2020. This is there because the federal government decided they didn't want to include chain restaurants or large chain restaurants, I should say, in this eligibility. There were problems in the first round of PPP where a lot of the larger companies were able to get money, sort of boxing out the smaller mom and pop independent restaurants. And one of the ways to get around that was, and for the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, was for them to put this language in there. Now, again, this may change as we go forward here, but this is at least for the original eligibility of the folks who are applying for this fund. Again, eligible entities include a restaurant, food stand, food truck, food cart, brew pub, tasting room, tap room, licensed facility or premise of a beverage alcohol producer where the public may taste, sample, or purchase products or other similar place of business in which the public or patrons assemble for the primary purpose of being served food or drink. We try to get that as broad as possible to include just about every single food service establishment in the state of New York. Entities can apply using their existing business identifiers, as the SBA will avoid imposing additional burdens on applicants. So if you already have, federal tax ID number, which I'm sure all businesses do, you'll be able to use that. Another folks who are ineligible, again, publicly traded companies are ineligible. Again, you're talking about your larger restaurant groups in really large chains. Entities must submit a good faith certification that uncertainty of current economic conditions makes necessary the grant request to support the ongoing operations, and the entity has not applied or received a shuttered venue operator's grant. Again, that grant is meant for performing arts, live venues, theaters, and things like that. There are a small section of possible businesses that may be eligible for both, but they don't want you to apply for both. Frankly, if you're eligible or think you might be eligible for both, the shuttered venue operators grant probably is the one to go to, because again, that probably has less competition for funds. Tax treatment grants are not tax-like income, and all normal federal tax deductions are protected. And new limitations on private funds and anti-evasion. Pretty standard language there. A couple of things I wanted to mention. That's sort of the end of the slides here, but a couple other things I wanted to make mention of briefly about this program. Again, this is all educated guesswork, I would say, at this point. This is what we think we know so far, but until the final rules are written, we are not 100% certain on any of this for the most part. Um, we are those rules. We had a phone call with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer yesterday as a sort of restaurant community, and he made mention that they expect the application to be available probably mid-April, in that those who would fall under that prioritization window, they would be probably getting money from the Small Business Administration by the beginning of May, and then proceed from there with the rest of the applications following that prioritization window. The other big thing out of yesterday's conversation with the senator was that he reiterated that once this money runs out, and I'm fairly certain it will, that he will immediately go to his compatriots in the Senate and get a bill in for more funding for this program. He understands that this is probably going to run out quickly, and that there's going to be a need for probably a second and then a third draw to fund this program to the level it needs to be, and that he has voiced his support and his confidence yesterday that will be easily done. So this isn't a one-time 28.6 billion dollars, that we do expect to see this program funded throughout the rest of the year. So that's good news. That's positive news, that this isn't just going to be once it's gone, it's gone. That there will be an opportunity for restaurants who maybe aren't able to get their money on the first go around, that they will be able to get money before too long. So wanted to make mention of those couple of things before I wrap up my portion of the presentation. Certainly, I'll certainly hang around and answer any questions at the end. But thanks everybody for listening, and happy to let Jeff continue here with the presentation.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeff Goldberg. I'm VP of Sales at Dining Alliance. I handle the East Coast for Dining Alliance, and those who are not familiar with Dining Alliance exists to help independent operators be successful. And by doing that, we have a lot of value-added programs available for restaurants. So some of the programs are available for the restaurants. We have cashback programs on products you're already purchasing. There's no bait and switch here. This is basically just like electronic coupons, just like going to the supermarket right now. Nobody cuts coupons anymore. It's the same thing with food service. With food service, in the past, a lot of people had to do what we call stick it and lick it, where you basically did a mail-in rebate. You had a promo with, say, Hellmann's mayonnaise. After 8 weeks, you mailed in all your receipts from all your distributors, and you submitted it to Hellmann's for a coupon for $500 or whatever you earned in that period. In essence, what we do, we are doing all this for you. We're doing all the proof of purchase handling for the manufacturers. That's how we get paid, by driving volume. Our program consists of over 165,000 rebated items available to you, and it's growing, and there's no cost to the membership. We do not ask for any personal information other than a phone number and an address of the business and an email address. That's the only real personal information we need. Other than that, as you can see, you probably don't have the best view, but you will have your own portal, and you'll be able to see your information tracking. It's also broken down by categories as well. Obviously this is a very quick presentation, but we can do a presentation for you with anybody who's interested in our program. As I mentioned, there's no cost to sign up, but basically what you do, we'd walk you through the process. We have a whole team that can help you walk you through the process. Helen Marks is our distributor. They go in here on the distributor side, and we get all the proof of purchase that you purchased from Helen Marks, but then also if you were buying from U.S. Food Service, you can enter in their data as well, and you can receive rebates on that as well. Now, in the rebate process, just so everybody's aware, the rule of thumb is about 0.5% of total purchases. Now, with that, we take out commodity items like fresh chicken breast, fresh seafood, fresh produce, things of that nature, because we don't have rebates available on those items. However, if you just focus on refrigerated grocery, frozen grocery, and dry grocery, on an average, a restaurant earns about $1,000 to $2,000 depending on the product mix that they're using on a daily basis. So it's just basically found money that you get at the end of the year. Now, the first check comes after the first 10 months of your first initial sign up. After that, it comes quarterly. That is the only, downfall to this. You don't get it immediately, but you'll never lose any earned rebates that you have. We have what we call a true up at the end of the year, and we make sure that you all get your rebates for everything that you earned up to the year. With our technology, we are technically a technology company that does data and information and analytics. So we're basically taking all the purchasing and we use that for insights to give you better insights on what you're purchasing, your behavior, and where we can help you save money. Beyond Prime program is another big part of our portfolio, which we can talk about on the next slide. If you want to switch, please. These are some of the brands that we have. We have over 350 contracts with manufacturers across the United States. And of these manufacturers, 165,000 line items available to you for rebates. Now, this again is no cost to you. It's just items that you're currently buying already, and we're just getting you additional rebates that are available that many restaurants did not know were available. And for the most part, some distributors didn't even know that they were available as well. This does not affect any current distributor agreements or promotions that you have with them. This is strictly with the manufacturer and you. Next slide, please. So this is the Beyond Prime slide right here. I won't go into a lot of detail with it, but with this program here with Beyond Prime, this is other ancillary programs that are available to you to save money. DirecTV is a huge one. That's instant gratification. The process is real simple. Basically, if you can snap a picture of your current statement, we can turn around and get you an analysis done on what we can save you on your DirecTV. What does that mean? It means about 20 to 30%, depending on your program that you're on right now, how many TVs you have, and your occupancy rate in your establishment. So what does that equate to dollar-wise? Some customers, if they have the Sunday ticket, they can save about $4,500 a year combined between Sunday ticket and their current DirecTV program. So that's instant gratification. You snap a picture, and pretty much the metrics behind our Beyond Prime program is to basically snap a picture of your current statements with, say, DirecTV, any other programs we have, even with, we have another program with Espergas that basically does CO2, propane, and natural gas. They contract with providers that are in your geographical area, and they will see what they can do to save you money on your current contract. So it's basically just a simple footprint of snapping a picture of your current statement. We'll go through an analysis on our side. This is also available on the customer portal. Once you sign up, you'll be able to click on these and it will instantly go into our Beyond Prime program team that will follow through on the opportunity with you. You can also work with myself and my team as well with any opportunities you have to see where you can save money. Another big one that we have, with everybody with the PPP money coming through, Home Depot has a big discount that's available, and that's no cost to you as well. And that is pretty big because they have a lot of different areas right now, and the best part is they can deliver it right to your location as well. So it's a big program, and if anybody has any interest in any of these, please reach out to myself. I know Chris Travers is on the phone as well, but we're all here to help and support in any way, shape, or form that we can, just to drive savings to you, to your bottom line. I think that's the last slide. Yep. So I hope I wasn't too fast, but if anybody has any questions, I'm here to help, and I'll be glad to help out in any way, shape, or form. I didn't realize I had my video off, sorry.
Absolutely. If anyone has any questions for either Kevin or Jeff, please feel free to ask. What is the maximum you are able to get from this loan?
At the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, the maximum you can get, I believe, is $10 million, depending on the size and the formula that you use to get it. But I think $10 million is the most you're able to get.
One other thing I did not touch base on, I'm sorry, I just realized that we do have an alcohol program that's available as well for any restaurant that does $2.5 million or more in sales. That can be combined between locations, and that is something that we work with local and state governments with our legal team. So there's incentives available. The return, depending on your volume and the product mix, a restaurant or establishment or with multi-units can get back anywhere from basically $15,000 to $25,000 depending on the mix in an annualized basis. So we do have a very good program that's working very well with a lot of restaurants out there. And actually right now with the downtime is the best time to get signed up, because it takes about 3 to 4 months to get it up and running due to the legal piece.
All right, great information. We have some people saying thank you for the information. So thank you both so much. We really appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a great day. And thank you guys again.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Be
Katie.
well, be safe.
You as well.